Hey honeys, thanks for tuning in. This is part 1 of this week's episode. Please sure to listen back to part 2 coming out next week. Hello, beautiful people. And we are back with another episode of Honey, It's Yours.
All these gunshots. Wow.
I'm Danae. Sprinkle instead of gunshots.
Sunshine and rainbows. I don't know what you want me to say.
I'm Danae.
Confetti. Oh, I'm Rihanna.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah. And we are back with another episode. Ashley's going to lead us right into it.
You know, the queen of segues. So today we're talking about music today. So music, artists, art, culture, the world, how it comes together. Everything, you know, the spirituality of it all.
How did we come up with this topic though? Like, how did we get here?
All right, so basically the first season we tried to do a music episode, and then that went in the garbage. That didn't get published because I felt like we all felt like we needed more development of the topic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, life has happened, and we've seen some examples in the social media's scape in the music industry, and that gave us more to talk about, I feel like. This time, you know, we have the Tories, the R. Kellys, and then we have the Maverick Cities, or the Maverick City, because I don't know how many situations have happened, but you know, like the Dante Bowe situation and all of that, Grammys, representation, and then also, you guys already know that we're filming ahead of time. It's Labor Day weekend, so culture and music is a really big thing right now in Brooklyn. I could say Brooklyn, not
that's where it happens.
In Brooklyn, let me not include anybody else, but in Brooklyn, you know, Labor Day weekend, the Parkway is going to be closed down on Monday for
the
Carnival.
barricades are already up. They had the barricades up since Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, they don't play.
So they're going to be coming outside, even though I feel like this year is a little bit more tamed than other years.
Why do you think getting more and more tame every year.
I think COVID 1, and then 2, you know, violence. No,
I don't think so. And maybe I have a different perspective.
And more first gen and second gen Americans.
Okay, wait, I think I have a different perspective because I live right here. Okay. Like the Parkway is a long place, and I think it used to be crazier. Like Juve used to be a thing. The whole, like, even from now, it would be music playing. Flags would be on cars already. There's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a few.
I haven't seen flags on cars. It's true.
Yeah, I would say last year, actually, after COVID, I feel like the police were lenient because everybody jumped up with the barricades. It's just a thing that everybody does, and they were just letting people live. I would say that they weren't they weren't engaging as much as they usually do in the past. And I think everybody was just happy to be outside again. Mm-hmm. But in general, it just ends earlier now. Like, I think I was back home by like 5.
So what time does it just not end?
Well, I mean, the parade and the bands pass with the music.
Right.
But you just used to be outside. You just used to, like, I don't even know if like the parade ever went later. I don't remember. But I know that I never used to come home and like the sun still be out or like dusk.
Yeah.
But they're definitely shutting down like the floats after. There's no more like, okay, going back to try to join another band and come back for it. That's a whole process now. Like it's calories to get back. Like, I don't know how to explain it. They're a lot more lenient with that part of it.
See, this is the segue part. See, I told you.
I can't stand you.
So I've never been to the Parkway because of my parents and their view on religion and culture, right? So there's a big thing of like the music that's played during Carnival, and also the culture, the parts of culture displayed during Carnival that are different from the religious side of being raised as a Haitian American. So like being a Christian and going to a carnival where there's no modesty, and the music doesn't portray a righteous living,
right?
Should I say? But then there's this new thing called living righteously ratchet, which I think I have a little.
Can we define that? Because I never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Okay, so I went to Jonathan
McReynolds. Ratchet?
Yeah.
Righteously
so I went to a Jonathan McReynolds concert, and the DJ right before he came on said, was playing, you know, what we're about to talk about, the mix between secular and gospel music. So, you know, when you in a party and they put Kirk Franklin or Marvin Sapp, the edit.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know,
like the never would have made it, like the
never would have made it. So he was playing that, and then he came on the mic, you know, he's doing his MC thing and saying, yeah, we're gonna live righteously ratchet.
I don't like that.
Right. So you see the segue?
Get to it, bro.
That's so
how do you guys feel about like this new world of, I don't think it's new, but this era of righteously ratchet gospel worldly music?
I think we're treading. I think we're treading very dangerous waters because now we're twisting things to fit into our lifestyles and like more worldly things rather than just sticking to what we were actually taught and what's by the book. The book meaning the Bible. So like righteously ratchet, like what? It's a very gray area because there's a culture of things, right, for you guys. And even for me, like with Egyptians, belly dancing is part of the culture. But when we have belly dancers at weddings, my mom and dad are like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not staying. I'm not going to participate. And I'm like, y'all are being so dramatic. And they're like, no.
Your father's also...
Well, he never goes to weddings. He's like, he doesn't attend wedding receptions. But my mom is very much adamant about leaving when there's a belly dancer. And I'm like, you're dragging it. And she's like, no, I just don't want to be in the room with that.
I don't want to participate.
It's like when my pastor used to, like, you know, he'll stay for the food part, and as the DJ starts to pick up, all the ministers gracefully make their exit.
Right. Yeah. But like, so like that, I've always struggled with what is okay in our cultures and in the music, because it's enjoyable and it's part of a culture and what you grow up in. But there's that fight. So even for you guys, I feel like it's harder because you guys come from Caribbean backgrounds and that is instilled in your culture.
I agree absolutely, like wholeheartedly with both parts. Like I understand what it's like to have like the parents, especially I would say my mother has been more blatantly like anti cultural. And like we actually asked her about it the other day. Like my sister and I, we were in the kitchen because something came up and it was just, I didn't like the tone. And I'm just like, what is your beef? Like, what is your issue with it? I think for her, she was raised by my other aunt, which is like my grandma, who was very, very, very religious. So I understand why she thinks the way she does. But she's like, it's a lot of violence that used to be portrayed. People used to use carnival as a time to literally like go kill people and get away with it because everybody's in costume.
And not to cut you off, but not only that type, like physical violence, but also the spiritual violence of it all too. So
that
like,
part.
The rituals and stuff that happened during carnival.
Right, the lack of modesty, like the portraying yourself one way that seems to be very different from what the Bible says to be portrayed. So like, there's nothing wrong with the music, but also a lot of our music is very much the same.
Raga-raga.
It is the Caribbean raga-raga. It is the you here, there, everywhere,
upstairs, downstairs.
I want to take your virginity. Like, come on,
like
bro.
mountains.
I was just saying, move mountains. What is the first line of the song? Blatant. I have a 4-year. Right. And it's just like, okay, but what if I have a husband now? Can I now listen to this music? Like, how does that all intertwine with that part?
This literally goes. Y'all saw Chance the Rapper and his issue that happened on the. I forgot what country he was in.
He was dancing on his girl's best friend while being married, and the internet had a problem with that.
I just feel like that was something that they should have handled in the house, and the internet needs to mind their business.
I mean, the wife didn't come on the internet.
Right.
People recorded
it and make it.
I don't understand the fascination.
People recorded it and put it on Twitter, and there was a whole discussion about like where does the line draw between respecting your significant other and the culture, and it's like
certain cultures have different lines of what respect is.
I was more on the culture side because you decided to go to carnival. That's
without your wife.
Can your wife really be mad at that?
It's also like a household decision. Like y'all made that choice within y'all relationship to go, and within the relationship you decide what is
acceptable and what's
precisely not. What the boundaries are, how far can we go, and so on and so forth.
The music is telling you what to do. But when you really say no,
in a relationship standpoint, can that be applied to religion? Can I still go to these places? And because I know some first gen or like some youth use the example of youth. use the example of let me be the light in these places.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna participate in some of the parts.
It's just, I think,
what does that even mean?
I do that though.
What does that mean?
So like when the Marvin, you stop, or like you're not gonna dagger anybody, you're not gonna excessively drink in these places, you're not gonna split in the middle.
Right.
Like you're just gonna enjoy your time respectfully in the space.
Right, because I feel like I'm at a point now, and kind of tying back to what you were saying before, like I feel like I'm at a point now where I am taking my religion a little bit more seriously, and I'm trying to be more intentional about different things and really figuring out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And my culture is very big on that, and like my friends, which you guys know, are very much outside paint and powder people, and I'm just not.
Yeah.
But we also had like a birthday party the other day, and I'm like, I'll dance with you, but maybe I'm not bent over, whining, grinding on you. I'll do a little chip back and forth. We could do it straight up. When it comes time to daggering, not behind me.
I think I had that
things like that
switched this summer too.
because it's just like it's a lot. Like it's a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
And it's it's an environment that generates lust, and I think that's like the line that at least I'm still navigating when I do go to these events. Like. We gonna dance straight up.
But now, if you out with your man, are we then doing
I have to
those
have that
things?
conversation with my man. I think we decide what's okay for us and what's not okay for us.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the chance of everything, if they in their household decided that he can go to Carnival by himself, and leaving her behind, and go, she would. I probably think would know that there's
an expectation of what's going to take place.
His friend's going to be there. There's an expectation that he's going to dance. He's not going to be going down the Carnival line standing stiff, not a little chicken waist.
Y'all say that he was dancing with the best friend's.
Yeah, his best friend. Yeah,
it's like if one of my friends danced with Ashley. Yeah. Like it's not that. There's already a certain level of respect there.
Right,
is it because we are of the culture? Like we understand the culture. Not,
that's
like,
part of why the uproar came, was because a lot of people on social media are not necessarily aware of the culture. Even when we went to Atlanta and we were like, oh, they're not really like playing Caribbean music, they're like, oh no, that's like gay. Like we don't dance like that here. Like it was almost like they were just unaware that was
like
even.
We went to Houston too. You're like,
exactly.
Something else.
And they're just unaware of what it represents. So now when it comes to your own choice in the situation, it's very subjective, because you could be this quote unquote light, but it's also what are you allowing yourself to be exposed to? Because like yes, you can be that, but there's also things in the atmosphere outside of your control that can contribute to what is going on and how you leave the function.
True. So then how do you teeter the line of, they said sip your water, snaps. Well, how do you teeter the line of being in the world but not of it? Like being young,
every day though.
Going outside, like trying to enjoy
Especially
your
in New York
youth,
City, bro, because you can't avoid these types of parties.
You can't
avoid
that
coming up
or
on
your
your
friends
like
that you're around, and like the different cultures that you interact with. Like, how do you not be of the world but still be in it and still trying to know?
It's like I want to be outside, but I don't want It's
I don't want that.
How do you? Because this summer I was wilding, so it's like now. What
image of God are you representing?
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the pressure, because you're outside and there's vibes. You're having fun. I'm sure God's not sitting there like strike lightning. You're not like, don't have fun. Like
I'm being some. Can you just strike if I'm not supposed to be here?
No, like, wait. Strike around the area. Around the area, not me though.
But it's like I genuinely try to think like what is God really thinking right now?
Grace.
And it's like too much.
No, but you can't use grace as excuse. Like, you can't be like, oh, he going to forgive me later, so I'm gonna act a fool now. Like that's not how it's supposed to work.
That's definitely not how it's supposed to work. Don't think that, bro. Don't think that.
I don't know. So then,
I think that's everything, though. I think that's the entirety of like what Christianity is supposed to be, right? Like you are supposed to go out into the world and make disciples, but you have to be in a place where you are spiritually mature enough.
Can you be in the disciple within the RAGARAGA is the question to be asked.
It's a subjective experience. Some people can go into the strip club and people are turning over their life in the club, and then some people don't go to the strip club and part in other activities.
And I think it's also like you have to know yourself too, because that's what, like, I'm not gonna go to the RAGARAGA with you, but that doesn't mean that you're not my friend in other aspects of our life. Like we can still go to brunch together and have conversations that may now interact with how
you're gonna have to say you're not going to the brunch that used to be. You're gonna go to the brunch that's at like something calmer.
Yeah, but it's also, are you my friend too? Because if you're my friend, this is not like, it's not happening in a vacuum. Like,
no, I'm just asking the questions, you know?
Yeah, it's the same thing, like, and like taking it out of the realm of religion for a second now. Like, we are at a point in our lives where we're all growing and maturing in different things. We are all not interested in the same things anymore. It doesn't diminish the friendship and the things. Like, I don't look any I don't look at you any better or worse because we're no longer doing the same things. But there is insight that you can now get from my experiences, and there is insight that I can get from your experiences, and we can still learn and communicate with each other. It's the same thing. It's just in a different, at least in my head, it's just in a different space. You set your boundaries. Like, if there's nothing for me to gain from going here, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But you want me to pick you up? Sure.
So I guess the question is like, are we only going to places that we can get to experiences and places that we can gain from, and not give to certain places?
What are you giving?
That's
your life.
I'm just bringing
I feel like that's
your life.
missionary work and discipleship. God gonna have to tell me to go.
What kind of life?
Because you know, there's definitely going to be some people on the Parkway this weekend that are going to be hanging, like, Jesus wants you to do better than this. Like, there are going to be those type of people that are there.
See,
I'm just saying. I'm bringing the
issue
perspective.
with that is like the delivery sometimes though is wrong. Like that's my issue.
Wrong for you.
I wanna, admonishment gets nobody anywhere.
So which is why I think it is okay to remix certain songs, because that will now reach certain people.
That hurts.
No, just to hear me out. All right, so I looked it up. What's it called? Praise This.
Grace
Praise This. Thank you for the grace. There was a show, I think it was on, it doesn't matter what it's on, but with Halle Bailey, and it was basically a bunch of churches were in a singing competition. Right.
Yeah.
And every single song they sang was a secular song. However, the words and the message was of the church, precisely.
Yes.
So it's like, for someone who is like anti-church, like they got mad church hurt, church
You can
trauma.
even use Kanye West, his the Sunday service.
Something like that is reaching people because they like Kanye alone. So now that is
a segue for them.
Because subconsciously sometimes you don't even realize what's going in. You're just like, oh, I'm listening to this person, I'm listening to that.
And
but
you're
like
repeating the words that are
the
feeding
words
your
are now
soul.
into your spirit. So it's like, I understand on paper how it may appear, but like it may not reach you, but it's reaching somebody.
I'm not gonna hold you.
That's the thought process.
She played this praise playlist in the car, and
It was
I
fire.
sworn I was listening to Young Thug, bro.
But it was Jesus.
So here's my thing.
lit.
I'm not against creating music that has a different underlying tone, right? Because even now, like, gospel is considered like black, old school AME Christian music, but then you also have Christian genre. I'm not against creating music, like Christian music, that has a different like genre, tone. Like we have Christian rappers and all those things. I don't have an issue with that. I do have an issue though with taking secular songs and turning them Christian.
But even
because
the secular
for me,
vibe.
see, I don't think there is a secular vibe.
That's the question.
Because
what makes it secular? Is it the song or is it the words?
Because there's Christian soca, and if you're in the Caribbean.
And you hear soca,
if you're in the Caribbean and you're in church in the Caribbean, you're not going to hear a lot of worship songs depending on your denomination.
It's going to be the praise.
It's still going to be the same instruments, just used in a different environment.
Same thing with compa, too.
Right. My issue with taking secular music and changing just the lyrics is that if you're already associating that song with a certain thing, it just makes it a little bit harder for me to, and I'm
separate
from it. Yeah. Like, if you're like, oh, this is a Young Thug song. It's cute because now you're hearing the different words, but it's still to you a Young Thug song with different words.
But is it like, you know, like fake it till you make it? So isn't like faithing it till you make it? Like singing the words and singing the song until you. What are they talking about? Like I can see why it could be a segue into what is this song
it could be
about?
a segue, but you shouldn't live there because as soon as you're hearing that, now I can recommend to you a Christian rap artist with the same vibe.
But is that because you have grown up in a Christian household that you can?
Probably absolutely is.
But someone who hasn't, like they grew up, let's say they grew up in an atheist household, right? And then now they already listen to Young Thug. They get introduced to this song and they like the same vibe, but they're trying to switch their perspective or whatever, and they're like, could this be a Young Thug now remix? For them to like open up the Bible? What's this Jesus they talking about?
What verse did he just reference?
Yeah, let me look.
What's it even?
Can I make a
place that you can live in for a long time.
When she played that music, I wasn't like tuned in. I wasn't enjoying it. I was bobbing my head, but like I'm not like, because I don't know why I'm wired like this. But the secular music and the things that I was listening to, I don't know why my ear was more attuned to that. I could rap a whole thing about Young Thug, but like that song, I wasn't sitting there and like when I
trying to
heard the
remember the
music,
words.
it was more
Okay.
corny to me than like spiritual music.
Question, though.
God, I'm sorry.
What about like Sunday Service by Kanye West?
I like that music, but that
Because
my head knows not because it's Kanye. I don't like Kanye that much, because my head knows that this is spiritual music. When it sounds like trap music, my brain is not wired to take it in as
Okay, please pick Rian. Honestly, I really want to pick Rian because she don't really talk.
Go,
much.
Rian.
Go ahead.
What? So I'm gonna ask my question again. Is it the musicality of the song that makes it secular, or is it the words? Because on paper, if we want to do dictionary definitions, which I was pulling up songs so y'all could have something to reference, there's a whole playlist on Spotify called Hard Christian Rap. You should listen. But if we want to get into it, we could look at the dictionary definition of secular, which first of all doesn't even. Hold on. How you spell that?
SECULAR.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, secular is denoting attitudes, activities, or other things that have no religious or spiritual basis. Meaning, the words. I'm receiving it as words. So like, if
If you're doing a remix, the basis. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Growing up in the space where we grew up in New York, we grew up in the world, blah, blah, blah. We grew up around what we think is gospel music on paper, which is that old traditional sound. And we grew up around rap, R&B, so on and so forth, which is a traditional sound. Now, as we are, as our generation
Is evolving.
Thank you. We are developing ways to crisscross. And I think the purpose being is to reach others, because it's not just rap, right? You also have stuff that sound like SZA. You have stuff that sound like Summer Walker. You have stuff that sounds like all these artists, and it's only because they sound like these quote-unquote artists that you heard first. If you heard this stuff first, and then you heard Young Thug, you're like, yo, Young Thug sounds just like this Christian rapper I know. So it's really just about perspective and which one came first. You understand what I'm saying? So
The chicken and the egg.
In conclusion, it's the words. The words came first.
So my thing is, I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm
think
saying
you
that I
said that.
concur. Okay. And, and the reason I'm saying that is because you said like the basis of it, and that's why I have the issue. That's why I have the issue with the remixing a song that was based in
I understand that.
right, because it's not new to have secular artists. Like Fantasia is the OG Christian girl who sings secular music. Molly Music has religious albums and he has secular albums.
Ooh, that's
you can be a Christian and create a secular album.
Can you?
Oh, okay, you have the ability to.
Let's go back to the definition.
I'm not gonna do the should or should. No, I'm not saying should or should not. I'm saying you have the ability to do both. Whether it's right or wrong, that's take that you're right. But I'm just saying that's what I mean by it. So that's why I have an issue with that, because that song was not made with the intention of God, right?
But
and of course things can change and evolve.
But do we judge music off of its intention though? Shouldn't you?
R. Kelly.
I think that's I think no. Please stop.
His intention was to make a banger, but
No, it was not. No. His intention was to make a confession.
That was that one. I'm talking about the rest of it.
No, I'm talking about way before that song came out, girl.
But he was singing about his art kind of reflected his life. So we're not even gonna touch on that part.
His music was a diary.
But like in general, like I'm just gonna swing over to the other part. Should the art reflect the artist and the intention of it all?
Can you separate the two?
Can you? I don't know.
I think
for me,
go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet.
for me, I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to see art or intake art and not think of, okay, from what perspective is this art being given? So for me, it's hard for me to see a Young Thug produce a Young Thug gospel album.
Right.
However, I do understand where a regular secular artist now creates gospel music. I can understand why, but I don't know if I can understand why, but I'm not the first in line to consume it. Like I can understand why Kanye created or helped the group Sunday Service create their own album. You know, but I wasn't the first in line to listen to the album.
I wasn't first in line either. But it's not like
I still haven't listened to it, except for like if it's played in my church, like on screen. But
on that album, they remixed a couple of like songs. One of them
One of them was
was an SWV song, and the Sunday service one goes crazy.
But I think so. One thing I wanted to say,
but it's also the sampling versus the tone, like the whole thing. Like for example, or even the switch the other way around. Like the Marvin Sapp turned into never.
Right.
Never.
Now you're double tapping
Now
and
you're
twerking
but
to
it's
Jesus music.
I feel like that's a remix versus the sampling of it, where you can tell it's a little bit of SWV, but the whole body of the music is still, to me, a gospel.
So I
track.
I think if I'm being
I
like,
can't separate them.
if I'm being very honest and like trying to figure out like what my issues are and why I have the issues I have, I think it's bigger because I feel like there's a lack of respect for the religion itself in general.
That's
right? I know that's a whole different conversation,
Across
but I
the
think
board.
to say what Ash is saying, like sometimes it's hard for me to listen. Like as Christians, we all know we're not perfect, and we also know that people change and evolve. Like it's not like Black China is like the first one that everybody talks about like now recently, and of course there's still things there, or like the fact that what's her name when Tasha when Tasha Cobbs put like Nicki Minaj on the song, I think it was her there. Like why didn't you put Lecrae or somebody else? Like I understand that everybody's dynamic individuals,
or even more recently Friday and Maverick City.
Right, like we're all dynamic people and we all have different parts of ourselves. But I think the harder part is sometimes when certain people start to get associated with Christianity and they're not appearing outright to live a Christian lifestyle all the time, it then diminishes the respect for the religion as a whole even further. I think that's my issue with it, because even like somebody in church could have made the Marvin Sapp remix, and if that played at church, it would be us all banging hands on the table having a good time. But the fact that you thought it was okay to play that in a club is like, okay.
But if they take that same song and play it in the church, right? Now this comes to the righteously ratchet, right?
I don't even think those two words should be together.
But the beat is ratchet. You know that's a twerking.
But I don't. I think that's. I don't think ratchet is for like a beat, right? I think that's just a genre that wasn't originally associated with the church.
Danae, if you never heard that remix outside and you were in your church and I said it was a Friday night service, a youth Friday night service,
my youth services be lit,
and they play that song, you're not that tone invokes a certain movement of the body. You're not.
No, I agree. No, I agree.
Because I stop, full stop. But you might. Some people might but they fight the urge to know.
To circle back now, this is how you were going to reach this person, because now they twerking. It's like, wait a second, what they really saying?
Do you think they listening to the song, or they listening to the beat?
Okay, so
that's a very naive thought.
Let me ask a question.
Go ahead.
When you are listening to music, are you listening so you can memorize lyrics, or do you just end up knowing the words to the song without even realizing you were trying to do so?
But
you sit here and say, "Let me learn these words so I can sing along," or
depending the atmosphere of the song being played.
Because if I'm driving and the same song play all the time, all of a sudden I'm singing along. I didn't even realize I learned these words.
You're in the car.
All right, if I'm in the spot and I hear it, let me Shazam it.
Okay, do you realize? No, wait. Do you realize that's when the place where you interact with music the first time influences how you take in that music. For example,
how you view it. Yeah.
When certain artists drop, I want to listen to it in my car before I hear it anywhere else, because I want to get that bass. I want to hear everything about it.
Same thing.
Sometimes
without distraction.
Without distraction. Sometimes I hear new music in church, and there's a different atmosphere than if I were to hear that song on shuffle on Spotify while I was in the shower.
I see.
So a person encountering that song in the club, they might not even realize that's gospel, and they're just gonna start twerking. But a person hearing that at the youth ministry Friday, they probably might not twerk, but they be like, "Oh, that's that Marvin Sapp remix."
But that now goes into how and where you are exposed to certain things, and how that now affects your depiction of what it is.
Exactly.
Right,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh,
I understand your point.
I'm very attacked.
I understand.
arguing with
I was ready.
I understand your perspective on like certain things do help reach new people.
Sorry,
no, you're good. I understand that perspective, because that's just like how I feel like that's like the first thing to do. Like, okay, if we want to reach them, we gotta do what they do. And I think like church, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's the first like natural thought.
No, but the reason I made that face because of the sentence.
Yeah,
to reach people, we must do what they do.
I don't think the sentence is not a depiction of what I'm saying.
Is that really the mission?
I'm not saying that's the mission. I'm saying when you think about it from a human standpoint,
you must reach them where they at.
Where you're
but
reaching.
They must change after they are reached.
But that's not up to you.
I'm adding more.
Like that's the thing is the sorry.
It's OD in it. It's OD in it.
It's fine.
It's really honest.
I'm just I'm saying the human standpoint is to go there. Of course, once you start to think, you have to think about what is the best way to do this without losing who you are and your mission and your point. All that, yes, I agree 100%. So that's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. I think intertwining what you just said and like kind of reiterating what I said before. I think my thing is you can't stay there.
Yeah.
You can't stay there. And that's why it's also important to know the Christian artists or whoever who actually do, I don't know how to say this like in a way that makes sense. Okay, you found a rapper who had a Christian song who may not be a Christian rapper fully. There's nothing, in my opinion, wrong with listening to that rapper, whatever. But like, hey, here's a suggestion for actual Christian rappers who are in this life doing these things. Like Christianity has different genres. I don't know. Go ahead.
Who is bringing them to now that Christian rapper?
I don't know. That's my problem. That's why I don't like the remixes.
I'm telling you, when I'm listening to these praise songs, I'm thinking of I'm like, all right, skip this song and get to the Young Thug. I want to hear the rah music. I don't know why it's wired like that in my head, because I think Ray made a good point in that, because I listen to Young Thug. I'm gonna keep using him. Sorry, free him by the way. Because
maybe that is Sarah's thoughts and Sarah's alone. No, look, the court of justice will decide.
They can't find a jury, so no. No, I'm kidding.
American legal system is interesting.
Let them decide.
I'm saying, I had trouble listening to that music because in the back of my head was wired. This sounds like Lil Baby. This sounds like Young Thug. This sounds like I don't know, some other songs. And then like when I start putting the auto tune into things and this, that, and the third, I understand the intention and the delivery. Great production, because I'm, bobbing my head. The goal is happening. But as for me wanting to return back to that music, I don't know if I would. I'm gonna return back. We skipped like 2 or 3 songs, and I went right back to my playlist and it was playing the regular stuff.
I think it's because music listeners who aren't musically inclined or artists don't do the work, like to find new music.
Or
that's why
Spotify.
I feel like no. That's why Spotify is a great
station,
because they have
everything.
Like catering to you to switch over to something else and make you new music Fridays and all of that. Like that's what changed the game of music, because music listeners are lazy. That's why I find it hard to believe that after hearing the Christian remix, that people are going to try to find something unless they're given it.
Yeah. Like I agree, it has to be intentional, because once I heard the one, and that's just because I was like, mainly for the gym, I was like, I'm not even really listening to it, like it's just background noise, but I don't want to like subconsciously ingest stuff. Like when you're sad and you listen to sad music, what happens? You cry. If you're if you see what I'm saying, it just amplifies feelings. So if I want to amplify a feeling of positivity and spirituality, then I want to feed that, whether I'm consciously listening to it or not. So I was intentionally able to go and seek out additional stuff to do so. Yeah. But if you don't necessarily have that intention, I can understand why that's not going to be your first step of action or second.
That's why I said I think like the person is also the problem.
I'm black mine and I'm stay.
You cannot say that. But I mean, I don't know how this ties in yet, but it may tie in eventually. I just need to say this now though. I do feel like there is
it's a personal issue to it too.
Oh no, that 100%. This is a side note.
This is a separate and
just so that I'm gonna forget it when I need to actually say it. There is an issue though, because in general,
America, we have a problem.
No, like with music and like how intertwined certain things are getting now too. Because so I listen to music on my way to school in the morning for my 38-minute drive. I always listen to like my Maverick City Music radio station or whatever.
You're so good.
And the other day,
I've been blasted.
I put on my Maverick City Music station, and the only gospel songs were the Maverick City music. Like, I'm like,
That
what?
happened to me too at first. You had to curate it for
I'm
real.
not
Just consistent.
Like,
Oh, just that one day.
No, it's because I used to listen to it all the time, but then summertime I haven't been going to school, and I came back, and I'm like, what happened
to my station?
It's because it's like why Spotify associating Maverick City with all of these?
It's because Maverick City is associating its
themselves.
music with with secular
Are they not
artists.
Okay, but are they not expected to make money at some point?
Well, that now goes into.
You trying to say you can't make
goal.
money in the Christian realm?
They
It's
can't,
not many
not
of
as
them.
much as you can if you're in the
And you're
secular.
like, I'm telling you right
because
now.
the world is
I'm
wicked
telling you
and
right
like
now.
the secular and the
Friday-
angel of music is.
Friday's like an R&B singer, okay?
Sorry,
I don't know what she just said.
I just preached to people.
I don't even know how we got here.
Friday's an R&B singer, right? And his first song is a song with his mom in it. She's praying for him, and in the back, Maverick City, like their choir, is like singing along. I'm guaranteeing you right now that is creating traffic for them 100%.
Yes.
So them being featured on these songs and these big name artists is generating traffic for them. So at the same time,
But at the same time,
They
they
have to
have
make-
kicked out Dante Lowe because of his statements and his relationship to secular
can you
music.
give me more context? 'Cause I don't know that story. Sorry.
So, I think he went to the Grammys or something, and he said something about supporting Lil Nas X or making
Yes.
music outside of the non-secular realm, and they said it didn't align with their beliefs as a group, so they said peace out. I'm just taking what social media told me. I don't know. I'm not in the group, but now for them to now jump into the non-secular world
It's a
and
little-
try to
it's a
create
little
traffic for them on this side because they want to make money, like you
hypocritical.
said, or get more followers, listeners, whatever. Now we mixing the jumbo.
Right. That's why I'm saying with the algorithm thing that you were talking about, it's because Maverick City is now not associated with just being a Christian
Group.
I'm not. No. Here's my thing. I don't have an issue, and this is just me. And I'm probably not gonna say this right. It ain't gonna make sense the first time. Y'all know it
It's
took
okay.
me a while. But it's
We're
like
here- we're here
I don't
for
have
it.
an issue with you to a certain extent being associated in one way, shape, or form with secular music because secular music is broad. Like all secular music is not
RAGARAGA.
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
that like okay. Like for example, PJ Morton. His father is the Reverend Morton. Like he makes secular music with Christian undertones. Like I feel like my concern is I put on the station and the only Christian music on the station was Maverick. Versus I could put on a PJ Morton station. I'm gonna get some Let Us See. I'm gonna get some like Madison Ryan Ward right now. She also is technically secular, but her music is also very strong with Christian undertones. That you can tell that
like
she did
Tori
not
Kelly.
lose her like her identity is still in Christ, but she's making other kinds of music. And I was just like, where is God? Like who? Why are we at a point now where Spotify does not even think that you have anything else?
Because of the question you asked, where is God?
That was just really confusing to me.
Where is God gonna make
I
sense?
think I need to update my playlist because
Girl.
y'all said a lot of artists today that I have no
But
idea.
it's also
Ryan
because
Ward
of
is my girl.
the
okay?
intention of it.
It's
It's the intention behind the music, but I think then this goes back to the art versus artist, right? Let's say you are Christian, but you are a human being and you're making music, and sometimes the music that you make isn't really reflecting where you are right now.
I gotta sing about a heartbreak.
Why? Because I still believe in Jesus, but my heart is broken.
What am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wait,
How do you make music as a human being that believes in Jesus, but you don't want to sing about Jesus right now? You want to sing about that heartbreak, or that you just this piece of chicken that you ate was so good and you just need to sing about it. Like, sorry.
that was offensive. That was offensive. Why did
How
it
does-
have to be chicken?
Because I had chicken yesterday.
Could have been a taco.
Okay, it could be a chicken taco.
Can it be a chicken taco?
Why can't I eat chicken in peace?
Get your head out the gutter.